Hi, today we're going to be talking about some LED lighting, a few lights that I just got. I got a Genere Radiance and also some budget lights such as the Godox SL-60W, daylight balanced LEDs. The Genere is great, the fan is silent, and the price you pay for these lights such as the Aperture 300D and the Genere Radiance, the fan is quiet, right? So the problem with these budget lights here is the fan noise. So this came from inside this light, so we're gonna be doing some hacking today. I just don't have the fan right now because I'm waiting for the That's it, thank you. Okay, cool. I got the fans, and this one here is the NFA8 is a fan that will go in this light. I also have, I'm also going to be doing a video later with, doing the same thing for the Jinbei EF200. That light is amazing, but again, is a fan problem because you can definitely hear when you do an interview with these little cheap lights here. Now, once you change the fan, these lights are going to behave like the expensive lights, such as the Aperture, the Genere lights and everything, because it is very quiet. This light, for example, is the Genere Radiance. I'm gonna be quiet here so you can hear the background. You hear the fan? It's because it's those lights over there. Gotcha. I'm gonna turn it off here. And there you go. Silence. I can barely hear the fan, but you know, something gotta make a little bit of noise. But these lights are silent. The Aperture lights are silent, and the Genere lights are silent. So this one here is a 92mm fan, which is gonna go on the Jinbei EF200. That it was supposed to be here Friday, but something happened in transit. I don't know if it was Amazon that delivered the package to the wrong city and state. I'm in Pennsylvania. It went all the way to New Jersey. And I was suffering for a week checking that tracking number every time. They killed me. So I have to place another order, rush shipping to get here tomorrow from California to Pennsylvania. So I can't wait for the Jinbei to arrive because I'm going to be making also a dedicated video on the Jinbei EF200, how to replace the fan. That light takes a 92mm fan. Now, I have an extensive background as a technician. I also service Canon, Nikon, Sony camcorders, DSLRs, and also some Sony medical products. Now, as far as which fan to buy, what brand, what model, what type, I have to give full credit to a YouTuber called Tommy Callaway. He's a big YouTube channel. He's more than 20,000 subscribers. This guy saved me a lot of time in what fans to choose, right? There's another thing that he was mentioning on the video. It's not just like you open these lights and you just plug in the fan, it's gonna work. No, it's not. There's further modifications to do inside the board, which also saved me a ton of time. There he is.
What's up, it's me Tommy. Today I'm going to hack the Godox SL-60W and I'm going to make it shut the hell up. What I mean by that is if you've been following my videos, you know that I really like the Godox SL-60W. It's one of my favorite budget studio lights. But the problem is the fan noise is a little bit noisy compared to some of the other lights I have.
So another thing that you should know, this is the remote that comes with the unit. This is the Godox RC-A5. And I also bought a newer brand, one of those square LEDs, right? And it's also a RC-A5, so Godox and newer. So they look identical, it's the same thing. Apparently newer and Godox, they make the same product, but they stamp their name in here. I have 4. I don't know what I'm gonna do with 4, I just need 1, possibly 2, because I can actually I only have 2 of these lights, so it's going to be one channel for the other one, or they're both in the same channels, or whatever. But just so you know, these are all the same. They're both RCA5 models, so either one will work. So this Godox one is on channel 1, and the other one is on channel 2. So you can dim and everything. Also, another thing that you guys should know, you will probably receive this remote shipped with the wrong color temperature set, okay? So when I received it was set to something like 4,300 degrees Kelvin. The 10%, if you want to dim it all the way down to 10%, is not gonna work unless you press and hold the set, it flashes, and then you change the color temperature, right? So you've gotta set it to 5,600 if you want to dim the light to 10%. It's off right now. And then let me see this one here. So it's at 5,600. Hopefully you can see that, I'm not sure. So it's at 10%, okay? I'm gonna change the color temperature to something else. To probably 4600, 4500. It goes back to 25%. And then you cannot go any lower unless you go here, right? That's 10%. As soon as you touch it here, it changes to 25%. So let's set it back to, by pressing set. And you go up to 5600. There you go, press set again. Now you will go all the way down to 10%. There you go, 10%. You can turn it back on, turn it back off. So this is the fan noise that you get when you unpack this box from the factory. That's absolutely unacceptable for interviews. Even if you place this microphone 10 feet away, you still can hear something. Now keep in mind, depending on the shoot, you're going to be probably using 4, 5, 6 of these lights. On a interview, you're going to be using the key light, the side lighting, the hair light, and the background lighting. So you're talking about 4 of these fans. This is just one. So imagine 4 of these at this level. So it's very important, even if you have a silent fan like this here, you're talking about 4, 5, 6 at the same time running with the subject in close proximity. For example, the softbox here is about 4 or 5 feet away, 4 feet. And sometimes it gets even closer, right? So it gets louder as you use more lights. So I don't understand why these manufacturers, they know there are premium fans out there. All they gotta do is research and maybe put a knock to a fan in here, right? So they will sound quiet instead of putting the scrap in here, because this is unacceptable for interviews or anything that requires like audio in a quiet room like this, right? Now you're gonna hear this light with the upgrade. This is the stock fan. Now listen to this. This is at 100%. And it doesn't matter if you set to 10%, 15%, 50 or 100%, the fan speed is the same. What I have noticed, however, at 10% to 15, at any frame rate and shutter speed, even with my actual eye looking at the wall, for example, when the projector is light on the wall, you're gonna have like, it's almost unnoticeable. It's like 1-2% of flickering, just like at the tiniest little bit, okay? But it is present. I don't know if it is because of the fan or maybe this light somehow is doing this. So I don't experience any flickering on this because this is the stock fan. But this one here, I have experienced a little bit of flicker. I mean, it's nothing. It's like barely noticeable. But anything above 15%, again, I don't know if it is the fan or if it is the actual light that's probably a little something wrong with it. So I'm gonna let you know if I remember if this is doing the same after I replace the fan. But as you can see, there's a huge difference. I'm gonna show you again. And this microphone is like 2 inches from the source. Of course, you're not going to have your subject that close, I mean your microphone that close to the light, right? It's just as a exaggerated reference so you can hear what's going on. So I'm going to be silencing this light here, and I'm going to turn this back on. I'm gonna put it away as at a real distance, right? So let's say, I don't know, 5 feet. So this is the noise. Let me turn the mic that way. So you can't hear anything, barely. And then back here. So as you can see, for $15 and a little bit of your time here, you can actually make this light perform like a light that costs like 8 times its price, because the color temperature is nice and everything is excellent about this light. This is actually one of my favorite budget lights, And the fact that this light is not battery operated, you know those old Walmart generators that has a AC outlet that you buy for like, I don't know, 80 bucks or 60. I have this since 2004. I just replaced the battery and then it works perfectly with these lights. If you want to take it outdoors, you don't need any expensive lights with the V-mount batteries such as the Generate Radiance light that takes 2 V-mount batteries. That's gonna cost you about $400 or $500. So if you're on a budget, just buy this light, change the fan for the silent intervals, right? And then buy a little generator like this. You can take outdoors. I have tested this at 60% with that thing. You ran about an hour and 35 minutes easily at 60%. There you go. So since we're doing this, if you are curious to see how the fan, the factory default fan noise sounds like on the Generate, sounds like that. And this is as good as it gets because the aperture is no different than these lights. It's the same exact thing. This is as quiet as you can possibly get from these lights. And this is a $1,000 light. It's actually $1,050. It's on sale B&H. I don't know how long that sale is gonna last. I think it's like $800. But the default price is $1,050 for this light, and the aperture 300D is like $1,000 or something like that. So, and this light comes with this ballast here, which has a beautiful blue touchscreen display. Also, the remote is touchscreen and is in blue, and you adjust the intensity of the light by 1 and 1%, 15, 16, 17, 18%, all the way to 100. And when you turn this off, it's exactly the same thing that the Godox does as the fan keep running on the background. To kill the fan, you just turn it off this way and no fan. Okay, so when you turn it off from here is a sleep mode, but the fan still runs. And I also forgot that the Godox with the silent fan is running, so whatever noise you hear from here is this plus that added to the footage. Let me turn this off. Now just to generate. That's it. So are you ready to fix that fan and void that warranty? Let's go! So I'm at my surgery bench right now here. This is what we're gonna need. You're gonna need a Phillips screwdriver like this, a regular one like this just in case, a flathead, and a wire cutting plier, a solder, and the actual fan. Here's the fan itself. This light does not require any extension. This is the extension cable. You don't need it. This one is for the computer. You don't need that. You don't need that either. So pretty much what you're going to be using is the fan, and you might have to remove one of those things here because space here is very critical. So one of them has to go. I'll tell you later when we open this. And we're going to use your gloves. So the first thing you want to do is to turn on the power to make sure there's no electricity on the board. Press buttons and stuff. Turn it back off. You want to wear your gloves. Don't let this LED touch the towel, touch anything. What we want to do now is put it here. There are 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm using this tool right here instead of this. It's up to you, but this works better because the size of the screw. And when you screw this back in, make sure before you tighten it up, make sure you do 1 turn counterclockwise so it snaps, so you don't mess up the threads, okay, like every other screw. And you want to do this so it doesn't have any signs that anybody kind of tampered with the light, even though the warranty is pretty much voided, but you want to do a professional job. You know, you don't want fingerprints inside the units. You don't want any scratches anywhere. By the way, I upgraded this with the Chimera thing because the Godox doesn't feature the lift like this. So this is upgraded. So you can actually lift and leave where you want. The original Godox doesn't do this. Do not use power screwdrivers for this. This is not needed. Have a little patience. There you go. Okay, so set the 4 screws aside. Take a picture of the thing, whatever you want to do. Okay, this seal here is going to be broken. Kinda, there you go. And this is what it looks inside here. There are 3 screws here, 1, 2, 3, to remove this. And as you can see, that screw is different than this one. So, put this here for now. I'm gonna use this screwdriver here. Change my mind. Take your time on this, no rush, okay? 3rd screw. You wanna flip this over. This is the little lever here, so you want to carefully lift this up and remove like this. Put it on the side and put these 3 screws here so you know what screws go where, okay? There you go. Now, there are 3 additional screws, the black one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 screws set aside. So after you remove the screws, you're going to be using this flathead if you need to help lift this ring up a little bit. There you go. You want to pull out straight, and again set the screws aside. Now this over here, don't worry about it, is one piece with the little spring, okay? That's all there is, nothing scary, okay? So put this in here, there you go. When you put it back, all you gotta do is dump it back there, that's it, okay? Nothing scary. Now there are 1, 2, 3, and 4 screws there. Okay, so the fan doesn't come off yet. Let me see if I can use this one here. Yes, those screws are a lot easier to unscrew than the other ones because holy crap. Okay, keep unscrewing until you feel them wanting to kind of snap a little bit, right? So which reaches the end of the thread. And then we have the second one here. There you go. Okay, felt it. Then we want this one here. All right, open. I care about cosmetics. I don't want any scratches here, any scratches there. I'm thinking about resale value and I'm super picky with my shit. The first thing you want to disconnect is this power from the LEDs. It appears to be. That's all. Be careful. Don't pull it too hard, okay? You gotta use common sense. You don't wanna damage this wire. You don't need any tools, but just gently pull straight out without any force. You will also need a plier to cut this here. This is the fan. Don't cut the wires. Why do I have to have this thing so damn tight? Jesus Christ. Okay. I also like to put a little bit of towel in between here so this doesn't scratch that. You know what I'm saying? Keep this stuff like nice and new. There you go. Just do it like this. Okay. Now the second thing, you're gonna unplug. Now you're gonna follow this wire here and see where the fan is. It is the first one, okay? 1, 2, 3 slots is the first. So this one here you apparently need a little help with some tool. There you go. Now we're gonna untangle this here. There you go, that's the fan. Interesting. This light, the other light, this wire was tangled up with this wire here, and this one they didn't do that. Check that out. The other guy, the YouTube Tommy, mentioned the same thing. He had to cut this fan, the wire, which we have to cut anyway, because it was tangled up with one of these wires. Now, whoever assembled this light here did a better job because it's nothing tangled up. This is the LED wire here, don't touch that. So the screws there from the fan are the same size as the main screws outside, but still keep it separated. 4 of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I like to put this plastic here that the fan came with here because I don't want the LED touching the towel. And also there's a slight protrusion here separating about 2 millimeters the LED from touching anything. This is taller than this. So put this on this plastic, right? So here we're done for now. Leave this alone, leave everything alone. Now we're gonna remove the fan. There's a screw there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. At first I thought this fan was round, and then, oh man, this is not gonna fit, but it's just the design of the fan. It is actually square there, okay? So we wanna place the LED again on this plastic here, right? Then I hope the audio is okay because the shotgun is not pointing at my mouth sometimes. I usually don't like making videos while I'm doing stuff like that. This is to me is a kind of private kind of thing. I want to really concentrate doing my own thing without cameras around and everything. So I'm doing this for you. You better appreciate that, man, with some likes and subscribes. Fan screws, they are somehow tighter than the other screws. There you go. Now when you take the screws off, this whole thing is gonna collapse down. Not to worry about anything. Here's the fan out. Remove the screws. Set them aside near the new fan that you're gonna replace. If you accidentally did this and don't know how to put it back, don't worry. There's a little groove there. See this little round thing there? So this wire goes right there like this. There you go. See that? It goes right in here, okay? And don't forget, don't pinch those wires. There you go. Leave it aside. So when I leave it here, it's gonna collapse like that. It's fine. Okay. Now, unfortunately, you will have to cut this wire because the wiring sequence is not the same as the standard computer fans. As you can see, it is black, then yellow, then red. And as you can see, here's black, red, and yellow. See that? So we're gonna use this plier about this much here. You wanna cut it. There you go, done. Put this aside. Oh, this not exist anymore. Now you wanna straighten these wires like this. Now you wanna straighten them out like this to be the same exact size, right? Make sure. If one of them bigger than the other, just do a tiny cut again. So they look like that, right? Now, to cut the wires, you're not gonna really use the 18 gauge because this thing is like a lot smaller than 18 gauge. So I'm assuming with the skills, you wanna cut this about the same size as the those pins. See, like they're probably like 3 millimeters deep or 4, right? So you want to cut the wire about this much, like that, and then press it gently and pull it. There you go, the wire is right there. Twist it. And do the same thing for the next one. twist it. There you go. Okay, put this aside. Okay, so to do this here, all you have to do is to get the soldering iron to hit the wire, right? Okay, you either have to ask somebody or tape this on a near the table, on a corner, somehow for this wire to stick like this, right? If you don't have the holder like I have. What you want to do is pretend this is the soldering iron. You want to heat the wire first slightly, while at the same time you do the solder here on top and then the soldering iron. And then you want to apply a coat of solder here so this thing stays stiff enough and thick enough to fit the actual fan here. Because remember, we're doing a bridge here, because if you don't have the solder here, this is going to be very flimsy and it's going to bend the moment that you put this in here. So again, observing the polarity here, if you bend this wire a little bit, you will see the colors, right? We have the black and the red and the yellow. So you want to do black with black, and it fits just like this little pins here. It's just as rigid, which is great. So black first over here, black with black. The next one is the red, and finally the yellow. So the solder makes a very sturdy connection and thick enough just to imitate or simulate those pins. See how thick they are? So you gotta do the same thing. So double checking here, black, black, red, red, and yellow, yellow. There you go. Perfect. All you gotta do is match and plug it back there, with a slight exception that instead plugging the fan back here on this port here, which the original fan was originally placed, you want to disconnect this bridge here. See, there's a bridge of 1 and 2 things, right? So you want to disconnect this one here, and leave it like that, loose. Okay, so the fan will be plugged in now here on the 3rd port, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this one, the middle one, is a dummy thing. Don't do anything to it, and leave this empty. So you want to plug the fan, this one here on the 3rd. Okay, 1, 2, 3. This one here. Okay. So before you connect anything, right, you want to make sure you put these wires back here, like so. This can be a little bit difficult to get in, but it will. So you want to plug the power here first on this back. Good. Now the fan, check the connections. And now you want to plug this fan right here, with the little 3 holes facing upwards, so it matches this. There you go. And you're done with the connections. So what we're going to do next is to make sure this sits somewhere here. Should be neat. Should be sitting somewhere here like this, so it doesn't vibrate anything. So something like that here. Just leave it like that. Now next I'm going to use a zip tie and keep everything nice and neat. Let's see what else needs to be attached. No, that's pretty much it here. So you're going to do this here. Can never remember which one is the right side. I think it's this side here, like this. There you go. Do not over tighten this. It's just so you secure them together. Then you cut it. Don't cut the wires. And that's pretty much it. Now we close it down. here. Put my plastic here, so we put it upside down. There you go. Now I put the 4 screws back. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now remember the 4 screws all the way down there. You're gonna put the screws that you set aside that look like this in there. So you probably need a plier like this to guide the screws there, because it's kind of a pain in the ass to put it in there. There you go. And those screws are very easy to tighten in. Don't over tighten because this plastic is very fragile inside, okay? So I'm gonna grab the other screw. I really don't like to do this on video because I'm not fully concentrated. So I'm kind of rushing because of the video. You want to turn counterclockwise. If it feels a little stiff to screw in, do not force it. Okay, so with this, put that back in there. First the spring, and then this one here. There you go. Now the next one, you want to put this in here. That's funny, I didn't put the fingerprints in here. So next, when I put this in here, with this things facing this way. And the aperture lights, when you connect the reflector in there, you see it kind of shakes a lot. This one is a steadier thing because they use this type of things here. This, I know it's not focusing, but it sits a lot better, so they don't like. Okay, so there are 2 holes here. One is the hole that's gonna go right here. You have to use a little bit of a touch here because to put this back, you have to kind of squeeze this here and there so it finishes passing through the screws here, okay? So there you go. Done. Now we want to put the black color screws, these guys, right here. Make sure everything is aligned. If it is not, you turn a little bit, like that. Counterclockwise first, then you screw in. Do not over tighten this. So the screws here, you want to put some weight on your hands here, but at the same time, watch. Once it reaches the end, let go. Do not over tighten this. That's about it right here. Check everything's cool. Okay. Lastly, we're going to use this one here, which is, it doesn't matter, which way is good, whichever way. And then you're just gonna align with the holes here, right? That, align it here. And then you wanna put the screws here. Driving them in here. If you over tighten the screws, you're gonna bend this material here. Don't do that. Just stop, gently tighten it up like this. I'll have to turn this here so it's better for me. Then use the little screwdriver to see how far it went. Good. It's about right. All right, let's fire this baby up. There you go. 100% here. The dimmer works. So like I was mentioning before, I don't know, with this fan it appears that it flickers a little bit. It's almost unnoticeable even on camera, but between 10% and 15%, at 15% it stops. Okay, I tried this with with the slow motion, with the high frame rates, no problem. Nothing flickers. 24p as high as 500th of a second. I mean, who shoots like that, you know? But it doesn't flicker, this light. Just at 10% because I guess of the new fan. So, but as you can see what the video is doing. It doesn't flicker. I'm shooting at 1/25th of a second at the frame rate 30. I'm gonna go at 160, 200, 250, 320, 400, 500. Let me close my aperture here. So I'm at 500, 800, and this is at 10%. So the flicker that I'm talking about is very minute, and it's only at between 10 and 14%. Okay, so I'm gonna increase the light here about 50%. I'm gonna close to f22, so you can see there's no flickering whatsoever. And go back to the 10%. There you go. Alright, so job done, and I hope you like it. I hope this video has been useful to you. And like I said, when I do these things, I don't like shooting video with this because I just don't like it. I like it to be just me and the thing itself, you know, without worrying about audio and cameras shooting and stuff. But I'm glad I could do this so you help you guys out. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and please like and subscribe. This took me about 8 hours to do. Thanks.